welcome to the Magnet for Love podcast. Does the idea of meeting the man of your dreams seem impossible to you? We are here to help you. This is your host, Lorna Poole, sharing the secrets of men, love, and relationships, so you too can succeed in love. Haven't found the one yet? Looking for some answers? Head on over to www.lornapoole.com to find out more. Welcome everybody, welcome to the Magnet for Love podcast. With me today is Kira. Kira's been on our show twice before, and you need to check out her really popular podcast, Love is Outside Your Comfort Zone, number 52. Why Men Don't Cheat, number 68. And I'm really looking forward to our conversation today. We're going to be talking about dating and sex. When should you sleep with him? When should you not? What should you be thinking about? And all that juicy stuff. 3 reasons to keep your panties on is what Kira's going to chat about. This is a fun, real, raw conversation, and I think you're going to really love it. So just to tell you a little bit about Kira. Kira's been coaching single men and women from San Diego to Singapore since 2007. She's a professional certified coach through the International Coach Academy and a contributor at Huffington Post, USA Today, Chicago Tribune and Your Tango. She hails from America's Dairyland, Madison, Wisconsin, and yes, Kira loves cheese. So Kira, what do you think of the third date rule?
Oh, Lorna, the third date rule. That third date rule doesn't actually exist. It doesn't. It's total BS. And for those of you who may not know what the third date rule is, the third date rule is this idea that when you're dating, you need to be having sex by the third date. Like that, I think for some reason women think that if they don't have sex by the third date with a guy, that maybe they will think they're not interested or won't want to date them. And it is the biggest pile of crap I've ever heard, because if there is one way to make sure that you cannot see straight, give your power away, like all of the things, make sure you sleep with somebody right away before you know them. That's a great idea. And I'm being super sarcastic in case you didn't catch that.
Who came up with this rule?
I have no idea. I mean, I don't know. I just remember people like talking about it all of a sudden, like, and having clients go, well, what do you think of the third date rule? And I'm like, oh, is that really a thing? I mean, I kind of laughed. I'm like, oh, seriously? Like, you would actually what? I mean, and I am so, like, my heart, and let me tell you, let me preface this by saying, I'm not your grandmother. I'm not your mom. I don't want to be. I actually think sex is amazing. Yay for orgasms. But I think that if we're dating and we want a relationship, we got to get very real about what sex, does too early on. And knowing ourselves well enough to know what feels good for us. Putting a rule on anything to do with dating is stupid. Not even just the third date rule, just anything with dating, because each person's going to be different. We're not, right?
And each person has, not everybody read the rule book, I always say.
Well, right. Nobody was pulled aside in third grade and showed a film strip, narrated by Morgan Freeman, because wouldn't that be awesome, that says, here's how you date and here's how you create relationships. No, we had super flawed role models. We learned probably a bunch of like jacked up stuff, and we're all out there like the blind leading the blind. And what I tell my clients is, I'm making you the seeing eye dog in this relationship. Like I'm making you like know so that you can lead the other person, because guess what? It's not really acceptable for guys to reach out and get coaching and help. So, it's okay for us to get the help around this. And yeah, I do coach guys. I don't know if you do, Lorna, but we need to start having different conversation, which starts with, there are no rules. What do you personally need? Right? That's what I'm working on with my clients every day. And that's what you're probably working on. We need to start talking about men or women as a gender, and start talking about, here's who I am, and this is what feels good to me.
Again, it's coming from a place of being empowered rather than, reading some article and going, oh, is this what everybody does now? I should do the same.
Absolutely. Like, why would we trust our single friends to give us relationship advice? I love that, when I do something in my owner's manual that's called your life support team. Like, who are the people in your life that bring great things to your life already, so that the person you're dating can just show up as themselves, because that's who they're going to be anyway. And I'm amazed by how many people go to their single friends for dating advice. And I'm like, but they're single. So they're not successful at this time either.
I remember Cheryl Richardson one time listening to one of our talks or something. She said about it's like going for milk in a hardware store. Like, you're just screwing yourself, basically.
That's hilarious.
So here's the thing, right? Okay, so never mind the 3-date rule. When do you sleep with somebody, or how do you go about it, or what's the 3 reasons to keep our panties on?
Okay, I got 3 reasons for your people, Lorna. Here is the number 1 reason. If you keep your panties on, number 1, it keeps you off the crazy train. All right? Because we all know that feeling that, like, where you've bought the ticket, you've pulled the conductor aside, you've bought the ticket to the crazy train, and you feel like your mind is racing 80% of the day, wondering, does he like me? I like him. Where is this going? What's going to happen? Did I do this right? Did I say this right? Did I, has this happened to you, kind of a scenario? Like, you like somebody, he seems to like you. There's flirting, there's dates, there's hooking up. You're kind of excited. And then you think, well, this is clearly heading somewhere, right?
Yeah.
But then, dun, dun, dun. Okay, right? You start looking around, something's not quite right. Why isn't he texting more or calling? Shouldn't we be making more plans? Who the heck is that woman all over his Facebook? The thing is that when we have sex with somebody, we automatically assume it's going somewhere, right? We think that for some reason, because we have let them into the vajayjay, like, that person's interested. And just sometimes they're not.
Yeah. Yeah. And you feel so crap about yourself when that happens and it doesn't work out.
And let me say this once again, like, cause I love this. I wrote this article a long time ago, and people like to yell at me about it, and they're just like, sex is beautiful and we should have sex with whoever we want. Yeah, that's awesome. But if you're trying to choose to have a relationship and really keep your eyes open towards what is going to work, who this person really is, are they a great match for you? Can they communicate? All of the things, like, throwing those hormones into the mix does not help anything. And I have a really simple rule to follow when it comes to keeping off the crazy train. And some people go, when I say this. But if you don't feel comfortable talking about sex, and if they are having it with multiple partners, you probably should wait. I mean, that's just a very basic rule. If you don't feel comfortable saying, hey, if we're doing this, are we monogamous for, physical safety reasons? If you're not even comfortable to have that conversation, then you are not in an intimate place where you should be creating that physical intimacy.
Yeah, because if you're too uncomfortable to have the conversation, you've kind of given them the bypass, and then you're kind of hoping it'll work out. And it's not really a great foundation to be starting off on, right? Right.
We should never be hoping somebody likes us enough. We should never be hoping that, if we keep doing this, it's all just going to fall into place. That's not how we work as humans, and that's certainly not how relationships work. If we can't have a conversation to say, hey, this is what, and this is also for if you're not looking for a relationship right now. You have to be able to have the conversation of, I'm not looking to date right now. This is just fun for me. Because there are guys who get connected. There are guys who like women. I mean, we love to think that guys are dogs who can sleep with everybody. My boyfriend is 5 times more sensitive than I am. He cries more than I do. He is that guy. I know plenty of guys also like that, who, when they have sex, it means something. So we can't just throw all guys into this gender. And I see that happen sometimes. And I'm, cause I coach guys who said, I thought this girl was really into me. We were hooking up, And then I find out she's hooking up with 3 other people. And I mean, they were devastated.
Men get hurt too. Men have a lot of feelings.
And in fact, I feel like they have more feelings than we do because they're not given the okay to express them like we can. We don't even want to go here, Lauren. I have so many theories about this, but ultimately here is my very short theory that we have to give guys a break because as women, we have each other. At any given moment, most women have 3 to 5 people they can call to discuss something about their day, about their relationship, about whatever. That is not highly acceptable for men. So men have feelings because we all have feelings and they're forced to keep them inside.
And what's the second reason?
Second reason, you can't keep your eyes open. You know, when you are liking somebody and that those hormones are running, you think he's perfect. You can't believe how much you have in common. You know, when the hormones start going, you cannot look at something from the outside and observe and say, this is actually going in a great direction or this is a good person for me or not. The hormones cloud things. And just for that alone, you know, women especially, because we do have different hormone makeup than men, like we need to be careful, you know, and
so what you're saying, so when we're home, so, you know, when you meet a guy you really like and it's getting near that stage where it looks like you're going to sleep together, your hormones are going crazy, what should we do in that moment?
We take the time, we step back, and we be okay with just getting to know that person. Or when you've both had a really like honest adult conversation about it, you move forward together. You know, I remember, okay, and this is a true story. I don't make this crap up. My boyfriend said to me somewhere around week 3, by the way, I don't really have sex till at least 3 months. And I was floored.
Your boyfriend said that?
My boyfriend said that to me. My boyfriend said that to me. This does exist. I am not making this crap up. And I was a little like, oh, really? And I mean, here, I can't like not practice what I preach. So I was like, okay. And I mean, it was awesome because we took that off the table right away. And I mean, I'm not saying we didn't have great makeout sessions and things like that, but we really took the time to get to know each other, you know, to see if we really liked each other and, you know, built like skills, like started communicating, like started, you know, spending time together in a way that was not just dates so that we could really see where this was going. And then when we knew we really wanted to try a relationship, that's when sex came in.
But Kira, isn't your boyfriend sort of the exception to the rule? Well, let me just say one thing first. Usually when a guy is really into you, he does not want to mess it up with you. So he'll tend to slow down the get to know you stage and not be so quick to jump into bed. Don't you agree, Kira?
Absolutely. And I mean, and yes and no. And the thing is like sometimes they're told not to do that because there's something. Okay, so I mean, we have to like look at the weird conversation had around sex in our society. Like, first of all, it feels good. Everybody's like, let's do that. But then, you know, for guys, like, here's the weird part is when I know sometimes guys say to the women, you know, I don't want to have sex right away. Girls lose their crap on them. They're like, why not? Don't you find me attractive? Is there something wrong with me? What's wrong? They make that assumption that all guys, you know, so then guys are then also pressured to have sex sometimes when they don't want to. So, I mean, there's kind of just these weird dynamics going on where we just assume all guys want to have sex right away. And then we kind of shame them if they don't. So go ahead.
If someone's listening to this today, as a sort of rule of thumb, I know there's no straightforward rules, what would you suggest if they are with somebody right now and they don't know whether to sleep with them or not?
What I would suggest is get far enough into the relationship where, you know, I want to be in a relationship with this person or trying out a relationship with this person. We are both on the same page as that. You know, we both have agreed to that, and it's something we've talked about and both want to move forward with.
I like that.
And let's be honest, the sex is 10 times better when you're excited and comfortable with that person.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's so much better than, like, I barely know you. I don't feel comfortable enough telling you what I like because I barely know you. So, I mean, that's the amazing part when people are like, when sometimes people are like, well, I just need to have sex or I want to have sex. And the sex they're having isn't even good because they're not creating enough of emotional connection to be able to share what they want.
Yeah. No, it's not.
You know, It's our job to, Lorna, you know, like I said, there are no rules, I think, in dating or sex or any of it. It's our job as a woman, especially, to know if I have sex too soon and it makes me cloud my judgment, I need to protect that. You know, and so there are no rules of like 3rd date rule or 6th date rule or whatever. There is like, I know myself well enough that when I have sex, I don't see things as clearly, or I connect to people too soon. I mean, we have to know that about ourselves. That's going to be different for everybody.
And what's the 3rd reason to keep our panties on?
I mean, what happened to wooing? What happened to like actual fun dating? I feel like we are between Tinder and hooking up. I mean, I think we are shooting ourselves in the foot. You know, where did holding hands go, Lorna? Where did holding hands go? We've somehow bypassed some of the best parts of getting to know someone and like all of the excitement of possibility.
But I had a very exciting courtship in my relationship, so I don't necessarily believe that's fully true. I do think there's a lot of, and I met him online.
And that's fine.
That's more.
Right, absolutely. What I'm saying is that I think there's nothing wrong, and why the reason we don't have this anymore is because we don't ask for it anymore. We make the assumptions that people want to sleep with each other or want to sleep with us, and that's not always true. And I'm not saying that there's not excitement in however you build your relationships, but what I do think is that a lot of times we're so nervous about getting to know somebody, and more importantly, somebody liking us, that we don't allow it to slow down and really build. And there's something beautiful in that. And that can look lots of different ways, and that has nothing to do with online. I'm sorry, it's through Tinder. And Tinder meaning that I feel like that is you don't really know when you're on Tinder. Here's my issue with Tinder. You don't know what they want. And if you are not in a comfortable place to say, here's what I want, then we're back to the blind leading the blind situation. And you hope that they like you, or you hope that something's happening. And we...
Isn't this conversation leading back to you knowing yourself?
Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. Because, Lorna, that's what you know. I mean, that's what you and I do for a living, right? Is that we can talk about guys all day, but to me, on some level, that's the wrong conversation. Our conversation is knowing ourselves, is knowing what we need to thrive, what we need to feel good, and having the confidence to communicate that.
I like that, having the confidence to communicate that. I think that's huge.
Absolutely. Like, that's what I do with my people. I'm guessing that that's what you do at your people, that there are no hard, fast rules here. There's no yes or no or right or wrong or black and white. It's, this is who I am. This is what I need. I'm going to ask for it, knowing that if that person can't give it, that's okay, because somebody will. Having the confidence to believe that. Because when we are out there just hoping somebody likes us, that's never starting anything correctly, right? That's not starting anything from a place of love. That's starting from a place of fear. And what begins in fear has a hard time turning into love.
Yeah, and you hold on to the wrong guy too long when you come from a space of fear. But if you come from a place of confidence, you know what you want, you know how to communicate it, and that guy disappears, you're okay about it because you know where you're going and you know that it's coming to you.
Absolutely. I just, to me, the conversation around sex has become so complicated. We've put all these rules, we've put all these expectations, and it comes down to this. It is an awesome, beautiful physical act that if we want to have a relationship and that's our long-term goal, we need to be really smart about and know what we need to feel good. Because if you can't ask somebody and say, hey, here's what I know about myself. I know that when I start having sex with somebody, I connect really easily. Just meaning like I hold on, and sometimes I've held on to people that I shouldn't have. So I tend to take things slow. If somebody can't wait, is that a person you really are going to create a relationship with long term? Is that somebody, if they can't hear you on that and respect that, I'm not even the whole like, they respect you, so they'll do it. No, it's like if they cannot listen to what you need and work with you on that, then you have a whole ball of problems as that relationship's moving forward either way.
So, Kara, what do you want to leave our listeners with about today?
Know yourself. That's always what it is. We keep having conversations about guys, but it has to come back to us. Know yourself and what feels good. Know yourself and how easily you connect or how easily you create intimacy with people, whether you should or you shouldn't. And then ask for it. And if you can't do that, that's why there's dating coaches and life coaches.
Yeah, because when we're true to us, we get very clear about the guy that suits us and the relationship that's good for us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I think that most of the time, Lorna, and we keep having the wrong conversations. And the conversation of third date rule or when we should have sex with somebody is not the conversation that always comes within. We know. And if you don't know, take some time and figure it out. Because otherwise you're constantly setting the situation up for success or failure.
So, Kara, how do we find out more about you?
I am on the leagueofadventuroussingles.com. And I'm also all over the internet, the Facebook, the Twitter, the Instagram, all of it. But just check me out at leagueofadventuroussingles.com. And I've got a great blog. I got a freebie on exactly this kind of stuff, which is scripts. So it's what to say when you don't know what WTF to say, So it's how to let somebody know you're interested, how to let somebody know that you're not, and how to have a tough conversation. And the sex conversation is a tough conversation. So I actually have a template that fully tells you how to do it.
Thank you, Kara. And I really enjoyed our conversation today.
Thanks, Lorna. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you for joining me on the Magnet for Love podcast. Excited and feeling ready to meet the man of your dreams, but don't know where to start? Feel like you've no idea what you're doing to get it right this time? Ready to get some answers? Then head on over to www.lornapoole.com and let's get you living the life and love you've always dreamt of.